The globalists have triggered the emerging tragedies that will plague the continent as winter sets in. And despite all the talk of a warming planet that are greatly exaggerated, winter will come again this year. I promise. Winter will come this year. And winter will come complete with ice and snow. Sometimes there'll be blizzards and cold snaps, too. And what that means to a continent that allowed radical environmentalists to set policies is death. That's right, people are going to die because cold weather kills far more people on this planet than heat, and it's not even close. You've probably heard that before, but let me give you some numbers. In 2019, for example, a peer-reviewed study in The Lancet reported this. Cold temperatures are responsible for 4 million deaths around the world each year. 4 million. A number that is 20 times higher than heat-related deaths. 20 times higher. That's right, according to a peer-reviewed analysis, cold kills 20 times more people each year than heat. That's a number that's going to get bigger this year because Europe turned off not only nuclear power plants, but bulldozed hundreds of its coal-fired power plants, in pursuit of Green New Deal utopia. Numerous reports now indicate that half of Europe's 324 coal-fired power plants have been closed, demolished, or will be by 2030. Weird, right? 2030 seems to be in line with, what do we call that? Oh, yes. The United Nations 2030 agenda. Get rid of all those power plants. But all of a sudden, there's an emergency brake being thrown. Germany is leading the way of restarting all of its idle coal plants, every single one of them. And even though it also gets half of its coal from Russia, it does produce a large amount of coal domestically. It will help them tremendously. You see, when you step back and look at what's happening now, you realize the Green New Deal, it's no deal at all. When whole populations realize they're going into winter and suddenly they have no reliable way to heat their homes, apartments, and businesses, people seem to have this odd reaction, being told that if they do that, they will freeze to death if the globalists, led by the UN and the World Economic Forum, keep pushing them over the cliff. They have an odd reaction of saying, hell no. Germany was the first to stop turning off the coal-fired plants, as I said, and start figuring out how to start idled nuclear power plants. You see, they figured out it's all about to hit the fan, all of it. And now other EU nations, Romania, are also restarting formerly closed coal-fired power plants. Italy is also boosting coal-fired electricity to save its nation from certain destruction. Even the Balkans are putting on the brakes of ending the use of coal in their country so they don't go cold and dark. They're going to keep the lights on in the Balkans, too. This is all a huge red flag to America. You should be paying attention. And to all the do-gooders, pay attention. All the do-gooders that are just too stupid or too stubborn, or both, to understand cold people get angry. People that are cold and have no heat get angry. And pretty soon, as they ramp up the green attack on farms, that hungry people get really angry. Hungry people get really angry really fast. If they don't believe me, they should see my brother Shane without breakfast, I'm telling you. And I'm telling you, America, we're about to see the toughest winter we have faced in a long time, here and around the world. The reason is simple. Awful policies being rammed down our throats by reckless, out-of-touch elitists who think they're smarter than everyone else. Of course, they don't have to worry about heat and food. They think it is their divine right to order the rest of us around. They do. Well, that's not going to fly around here because we can see inflation is already hammering the nation and the middle class and lower classes with economic pain they're barely able to withstand, hundreds of dollars each month more that they're paying just to live. Follow that with an American energy crisis that we're already seeing with power warnings in California and Colorado in just the last week, all while misguided socialists talk about the joy of electric vehicles powered by windmills, solar panels, butterflies, and unicorns. But that's just the beginning. Add in the production cut of oil as the OPEC nations give mindless Joe Biden the proverbial finger, which means gasoline, oil, propane, and natural gas will also start soaring as well. And then Mix in a possible walkout by 115,000 railroad workers by the end of next week. And possibly a competing strike by airline pilots sometime soon, too. And then you'll start to see what's going to happen. You'll get a handle on what's really possible while Joe Biden fills his diaper, eats ice cream, and walks the beach just before he falls off his stationary bike. Completely oblivious to all of it and any of it. You ready? We're going to listen to some things. We're facing a real multi-tiered global crisis. And it has nothing to do with climate change or global warming or some overhyped pandemic involving COVID or monkeypox or any other jacked up illness. No, this all leads back to terrible and possibly intentional socialist policies. These policies have gutted our energy sector, fueled an astronomical rise in inflation, no borders, and set us up for mass deaths from winter and famine, as the food crisis will also arrive at about the same time later this year as winter gets here. Yes, this is Agenda 2030. At least that's how it looks from where I'm standing. It's probably too late to stop the devastating winter in Europe, where they had damn well be praying for global warming. They'll need it. But it's not too late for America to take the off-ramp from the crazy train and start driving down Sanity Street. But it does take you. You must get involved. You must vote. You must get involved. Vote. And remember, Gruber, me. I've been warning you about this for months now. About the energy crisis, the food shortages, the devastating lack of heat and power, skyrocketing inflation, endless government checks and handouts, and all the other crazy leftist ideas of open borders, letting violent prisoners free, mass mail-in ballots, and so much more. I've been warning you. Hang on tight. It's going to be a wild ride. But it's one that I believe we can come out on top of and take control of this great nation and lead the world again. However, the road there could be long, rough, and honestly very unpredictable. We're going to check in on all sorts of people from around the globe when we continue this morning. I'm going to let that all marinate. Heat, food, lights, inflation, all of it. You got your checklist? Did you take notes? There's going to be a test. Pop quiz at any time. You never know when. The professor is in. Quick break now. You're on the Steve Gruber Show.